and I think you guys made it very clear last pod about the size of what we have in our country and how underdeveloped it actually is, and that's only due to how underdeveloped the youth system is. And I'm gonna let it be known right now that the corruption stems very, very deep in this game and the system, like extremely. So that's what undermines a lot of the decisions. Um,
Yeah.
so that's it for right now.
As far as like, is it true the whole like pay to play thing?
Yes,
Yeah.
big time. So from my experience, they'll have a handful of players that they're hijos de papis, so like broadcaster kids, kids that just grow up with money, and the family will just pay any Mexican team, any Mexican club to allow them to play for as long as they want. So a lot of kids do develop to play, be very good, decent players, but los chavalos, the ones that come from the barrios, the ones that have real raw talent, que gambetean, they play football champagne, these guys have tecatitos coronas, right? You can't just build that on the field. That's something that's just something you're born with. And unfortunately, the Mexican national team, it's not even the Mexican national team. It's more of they're trying to copy a European play style, which is grab guys that are 6 foot above and just strong. But from what we're seeing, it's not really working at the moment.
Yeah, I was watching today's game. Welcome everybody, by the way. And Mexico first half was más o menos, and then obviously they get a goal early in the first half, in the second half, which is good, and then an own goal, and then Haiti scores. They were dominant in the air. They were dominant on set pieces. A problem that was fixed by Ricardo Osorio, and now it has redeveloped. So it is the coach, and I feel like, like we're not gonna beat them on height. These dudes are huge, and I don't know why Mexico in certain parts of the match insisted on crossing the ball. It's like that's not playing to our strengths. We have El Bebote, who's like probably like our tallest striker that we have right now, and it's just like still, man, like these dudes are huge. Like we got to know our strengths and our weaknesses and play to them. And that part really disappointment from Jimmy Lozano. And I don't know. I don't know if the pants are too big for him to fill, but as of right now, he's 2 for 2. He's won both matches, and he's got a pretty good chance of going undefeated on Sunday here in San Jose.
How did Qatar do? Did they tie? The
That's
last I saw, they were 1-1.
a great question. I actually don't know how that match finished up. I'll check right now.
Uh,
Yeah, they tied with
yeah.
Honduras.
Uh, I'm not sure. Jimmy started Henry, didn't he?
Yeah, they did the same lineup as they did in the first game against Honduras, and got pretty much the same results. I do like the fact that Santi finally got his goal. The monkey off your back and all that, and maybe we'll have Super Elbow Drop join us later today. But he put it in the group chat. He's like, hey, if it wasn't for that own goal, we would have, potentially tied. There was a point in the match where, after IT scored that goal, it looked like they were having a little mini comeback, and they could have easily had a second goal. So a little shaky, but in the end, Mexico gets the job done. I don't think the actual tournament will start for Mexico until probably semifinals.
Who would they face in the next round?
Uh,
It's pretty
I
obvious right now they're going to be first.
I want to say it's the runner-up from Group D. Yeah, so as of right now, Guatemala, Canada, Guadalupe, and Cuba.
Hmm.
But
So,
Canada's not bringing
Guate,
their best. So I mean, anyone that they face in the next round, it doesn't really matter, dude.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, I'm not even convinced by USA either. So it's like, I'm more concerned about Jamaica. I think Jamaica's better than.
Yes.
well, it does matter to an extent, right? You don't really want to lose to these teams, but you have some of the teams like even Canada, and then you know that we, they when they play Mex, they tend to play up.
Yeah, play up and play down.
Yeah, Mex still favorite. They're still favorites, but I mean, you saw like in the first half, people were booing the national team,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like we have this perception that Mex has to steamroll through the region, and it's just like if you look at the history of Mexico of all World Cup qualifying since it started, it's never really done that. I think what's changed our perception a lot has been that Gold Cup gets played in the U.S. and for Mexico, it's a bit of a home, home away from home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at least fan support, they feel that like the home team, and I think that's changed a lot, and that's been what since '91, which every Gold Cup played in the U.S. Right? It's even helped the U.S. to that extent where, imagine always having the tournament in your backyard.
What happened in
Um,
'03 though?
Mex Mex hosted, but they only hosted their games.
Mm-hmm.
so so they just stayed at Azteca, and the rest of the games were well, not. There was still some games played at Azteca, but Mexico never left. Um, but if you look at like Gold Cup and look at the history of Gold Cup, and you see the other teams winning it when they got to host it, and I think CONCACAF needs to do something like that. Go back to something like that, even if it means like '03, where the host just stays at home. Because Honduras, they suck right now, but when they have their best players, they can be a very tough opponent, and especially playing in their home. Costa Rica, we've seen what they could do, you know, um, and same with some of these other teams uh, that they've kind of like Jamaica, Panama. So it sucks for them that the tournament's always here in the U.S. in that sense because like you want to be able to win something, it's gonna inspire like little kids watching and not see your team as it never wins anything.
Yeah, I think two things. Number one, the fact that we have the Gold Cup every 2 years, it's a little played out, man. Like it loses its prestige. And then the other thing too is like, yeah, it's always in the U.S. It's always comfortable. It's always, I understand that they have the infrastructure, and I understand that this is where it generates the most money. But I would like to
Yeah,
see things change up. Even if it is like having it in Mexico, why not? Why does USA always have like first dibs at all these tournaments? I understand that we're in the middle of like hosting a World Cup in 3 years from now, but look, dude, like the Gold Cup, it belongs to everybody, and I think they should rotate it around and
Uh,
give everybody else a chance to host
yeah,
and to get
yeah.
a
Even if it's hosting their own games,
yeah, for
just like
sure.
Mexico no three, but that would that would help these teams. And dude, I guarantee you, they would get their wins because these teams have beaten the Mexicos, the US's in their own home. And who's to say they wouldn't do that in a semifinal or in a final? You
Yeah.
know,
This
um,
mhm.
this is what I would do. You got four groups. You seed, you give like a seed to each, like one country in each group, and they get to host their matches, right? I think that would be fair.
yeah,
Yeah, but I'm sure if you ask the federations, they would disagree because it's like money that goes back to the
yeah,
federation.
Yeah.
Like, why?
and not well, and also money to organize an event. Sometimes they don't have everything needed to have
Like, I
like
was
Yeah.
it
at
would.
the game that US played yesterday. Man, that was so sad to watch. I was watching like pros versus like a high school team. Like there's the body movement, the IQ. So you're like, if it's a population of like 20, 30,000, there's no way they can host. They have their league. They have like a 12-team league.
Mhm. Mhm.
The players from that league, it makes 1% of the male population. That's how small it is. They're not going to be hosting any international games.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when it comes to these situations, it really is about the money and how much the United States can actually provide, and it is the cash cow, like you guys said.
And
Yeah.
also, I wouldn't feel bad for them because for them, this is their World Cup, bro. Like this is like wow, going to America, these big stadiums, these nice luxuries, like playing against
No,
these players
tampoco,
from
way,
Europe.
tampoco, way.
No, like
No,
Nah,
yeah,
like
these
the
guys,
team from yesterday,
these.
right.
like St. Kitts and Nevis or however you pronounce it,
Oh,
like
those,
those
those
kind of
them,
teams.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
to
yeah,
them,
for them, yeah.
that's like their World Cup. Obviously, not Costa Rica, Panama, or whatever, but some other these little teams like Martinique or whatever. So this is
Hmm.
like their World Cup, man. Like they're enjoying it.
It's like Disneyland for them, bro. I think it's not the World Cup. It's Disneyland.
Disneyland. Yeah.
Hey, do they have to pay for their own trip, like to get to the
Uh,
states?
so for
Yeah.
those, it depends. So, um, I know for the Mexican or for the bigger national teams, as a player, you do have to pay for some amenities. That would be maybe your jersey. An extra jersey is provided sometimes.
Hmm.
Boots are always paid by yourself unless you have a sponsor. They'll provide the boots. And as far for boots, you guys, it's never what they're gonna sell you in store. It's they always have some
Yeah,
customized version.
player
Always,
issue.
always, 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 always.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I was meaning more of like the flights and all that.
Flights.
Yeah, hotel.
I believe for senior pros, that's the problem a lot of times where the national teams do not give them as like a lot of let's say like passages. So maybe they'll have to pay like a 10% of the hotel. But bigger nations sometimes will pay everything. It just depends. It really does depend on the competition too.
You know what's
For,
funny? There was a story
for Mex,
about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Real quick, go ahead. How they stayed at a hotel and he was thirsty and he opened up the mini fridge and then he didn't really think anything of it. And then on his next paycheck, he was deducted from the from the mini fridge and he was
damn.
upset. He's like, "Hey, why'd you guys take a quid from my salary?" And they're like, "Oh, well, you drink for the mini fridge." And he said that in Italy, like they would never do anything like that. Like the hospitality in Italy is incredible. Like by the time you go and sign with your club, they already have a house for you, an agent, everything, dude. It's like they take care of you. And he said that was like the real difference between like England and Serie A.
Yeah, with Mex, what I've heard is they'll buy them the plane tickets, and then sometimes they'll just throw them in coach. So you've had in the past some players complain, especially those that travel far, like they're in Europe. The story I remember most was with I think Paco Palencia when he was playing in Espanyol in Barcelona, and they booked his flights all fucked up, and you know.
They made him fly
It,
Spirit Airlines. He had to throw hands.
yeah,
It's like you want
but
this
I
seat,
mean,
you're gonna have to fight for it. Orale.
yeah, he wants upgrades come out of you. But I mean, a Fed like Max, dude, should really have no problems paying.
Yeah, I miss the days of Jorge Vergara's private jet, and he would
He had
just
to sell it, dude.
he would sometimes. I know the national team sometimes would use it, and then he would also send players to Colombia and stuff, like for for some psychiatry lessons and stuff. It's crazy. Um, Lopez, I meant to ask you because everyone totally forgot about this, but the Copa de Campeones, you went to that. How was that experience?
I actually didn't go.
Oh,
I was in the vicinity though. I was around a lot of people. I can't say where I was, but I was around a lot of let's say just people that know the players and some players too. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys saw on TV how dead it was. So that answers itself.
yeah.
um, Preparación, it's just a juego de preparación. Sure, the players are gonna want to play for that trophy, but at the end of the day, it's a kind of a plastic trophy right now, especially as you guys put it, it's being played in Portulandia. If it was being played in Mexico, I think it'd be a way different environment.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally forgot about that cup. It was where was it at the Carson? Yeah, I think it was in LA.
Yeah, yeah, Carson.
Yeah, for sure. As far as the today's game and seeing the score line and seeing this Mexican team under Jimmy, you know, how do you guys feel? Are you guys feeling like yeah, this is an improvement over Coca or I don't know about this Lambo Jimmy. I don't know why everyone's overhyping it. They said these are games that were expected to be victories. Like I really want to know, if Jimmy's the answer to this, or should we be looking at replacements?
I think he's a very good coach, especially when you've been training las inferiores. You know how the players work. You know what you have to do, and you know how to motivate the players. And the part of being Mexican and being rooted to your culture is so important, especially when you're playing big games. It, the amount of pressure the player feels having not just the fan base, but having that connection to the country, it's incredible. It's like nothing else. It's that fire that never stops burning. And Jimmy, I think this cup isn't. I think it's a good preparación to see what he can do tactically, but the big games are obviously going to be. I would I would put Jamaica in there, but Jamaica, USA, and Canada. But after that, we're gonna have to see what he really has in store for us. And Santi's the real deal. Santi's the real deal.
Yeah, it's a little competition there between him and Henry Martin. Honestly, I don't know what people see in Henry. Like he had a sitter that he missed in the first half, and he was lucky to get that goal in the second half. But I would personally, based on the season that they had, I would have put Santi as starter. I think it's his time to shine, and this is a perfect tournament to showcase that. Um, yeah, that's how I feel about it. And then as far as Edson Alvarez, uh, do we even have to explain why the deal fell through with Borussia Dortmund? I mean, it was pretty evident today, man. I don't think he's worth what they're asking for.
I mean, as far as like the first point with Jimmy, I think Edson Alvarez gave you that answer when he said, "This is the first time I have a coach that's Mexican on the national team." And, it's a different type of feel, it's a different type of vibe, and the players feel more comfortable. As far as his move falling through, rumors is that his club screwed him over. That they kept asking for more and more. Trying to start a bidding war between them and West Ham because West Ham is releasing Rice, and they kind of need a backup too. So it backfired on them. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised because they didn't let him go last time. So it looks like he might have been screwed. I mean, is he not playing like the best with Mexico? Maybe, maybe not. But at his club, he's stepping up for them. He can play center back. He can play center defensive mid. He can score on set pieces. So I think there's still a pretty good image of him in Europe. It just feels like probably his club Ajax just fucked him over.
Got a little bit too greedy there. I don't know, Lopez. Do you have any insight on that deal?
Uh, I think he's spot on the money with that one. I haven't heard too much about it. That's just because Edson has been rumored, even in past seasons, about how he's been going to clubs, but ends up just staying. If the time's to move, it's time now. And I'm not sure what the price is for him, but I I don't think he's Premier League quality. To be honest with you guys, I I think he's a little bit too much. Fumbles a little bit too much on the ball. I'm not sure if he could keep up to the pace. That's just me though.
Yeah, what was that biggest criticism that Schneider gave to both Jorge Sanchez and Edson? It's like, hey, these guys know how to play back, play lateral, but they don't know how to move forward with the ball. And that's a fair criticism. I know in Holland, they have like one of the best schools in the world next to Barcelona. So yeah, I understand the criticism. Um, but it is what it is. Uh, Nothing wrong with him staying at Ajax, but obviously it's time for him to step up to the big leagues. I think the Bundesliga would have been a great move for him. I miss the Bundesliga. I miss Mexican players playing in the Bundesliga. I genuinely enjoy that league, but I haven't been following it because there's no Mexicans there. Chicharito was there, Fabian was there, Salcedo was there. It's like it's a fun league, and the Germans like they love the Mexican connection, and yeah, it's a shame that he's not gonna be going to Dortmund, but maybe we'll see something before the window closes. I feel like this was been not an anticlimactic transfer window for Mexicans.
Yeah, I agree. Um, Although I would say we're kind of falling out of a golden generation of players in general, where we used to have world class players playing everywhere. But as to now, we unfortunately we don't really have those big star players. As before, you could say we had Ribery, Robin, and that's just European players, but even Mexican players as in Gio, both Gios, Rafa. Um, you can name an abundance of players that were at that at least mid European level as to now where we're stuck with a lot of Liga MX players, which sure play great at club level, but again, club level, especially in Liga MX, is not. I know you guys like to compare it to the Netherlands, but I would say the Netherlands is at a much higher intensity. That's why I think Santi's gonna be so much better off there too.
Yeah, I think they talked about it about the difference between like Mexico and Holland, and the talent wise and capability is there. It's just like the level of consistency and the discipline week in and week out. It's like just the intensity is there. And in Mexico, it's very inconsistent, and that also reflects on the national team, right? Like we have our hot and cold, moments, and we don't have that level of consistency every
Well,
week.
I think that's more so for the better players. So if you're one of the top players, there's not that much competition for you, and that's when they did they did the increase in foreigners. So now you don't have that many people, that are gonna compete against you and try to knock you out of a national team spot. Sualdo Sanchez made pretty good point. It was like a few weeks back about how much easier it is now to get into the national team than when he was starting.
Facts.
And that's, again, that has to do with the lack of players. There's just not that many. Um, so, like in a 4-year World Cup cycle, there will be about 80 players called. So you look how many players there are in Liga MX, Mexican nationals. It's about 120. So, dude, 80 out of 120, that's a good chance you're going to the national team,
You
even
score
if
a
it's
few
for a
goals, you're
bolero.
gonna get called up,
Not
man.
even, dude. You're just healthy.
You're just
They
present.
need someone. They need someone for that midweek game against
And if you're good looking, even
Croatia's
better.
under 21.
If you're
Unless your name's
uh,
Pocho Guzman.
if you're good, oh yeah, Pocho Guzman on that blacklist. He should have been
yeah,
doing that
Don't
Colombian
forget.
Bam
them
Bam.
lines. But so I think that's what's been going on with Mex the past couple of years, and so there's been a lot of complacency now, where it's like, you know, very difficult for you to get knocked out of a spot in the national team.
Dude, right now is the best time to be a Mexican striker, dude. All you got to do is score like 3 goals and you'll get called up for the national team the next week, dude. It's like we're so desperate for a striker, it's ridiculous. And the competition is just not there, right? Chicharito's out. Raul
Uh,
Jimenez is like
Vela took himself out.
Vela took himself out.
how would you guys have felt if Mexico actually tried for Pepe?
You know,
Mm,
I've said this before and I'll
mm,
say it again. Till this day, players that have been eligible for both the U.S. and Mexican national team, I have yet to see one that we have like regretted. Like none of them really have panned out or have surpassed the
Right?
level of the
There's bound
Mex.
to be one, Jaime.
It's gonna happen
There
eventually,
will
but
be one that
I
you
don't
will,
think
yeah.
Pepe is the answer. Or Pepe, sorry, I don't think Pepe's the
What
answer.
about Cowell?
Cade Cowell, that dude, I probably can't even speak a lick
no,
of Spanish, bro. I don't think
bro, that kid is not good, man. I seen him
No.
play live twice, and that kid is all athletic ability and robotic.
he
Like
reminds me of like Hulk,
yeah,
like
he knows he
the
has to
Brazilian Hulk.
sprint.
The
He knows he
Brazilian
has to
Hulk, the
shoot. He knows
Chiva
he has
Hulk.
to cross. But there's like no soccer IQ behind his movements or on the ball, off the ball. I think he's like Martin Galvan, the kid that went pro with Cruz Azul at 15. He's still living off
Oh
that
man.
hype of 15, but that's why he's on the USC roster right now, man.
Well, Galvan never
Like,
made. Well, he just
like
made
he's
it to
just
the youth, right? I don't think he.
what?
Galvan, you were talking about Galvan.
Yeah, he
I
went
don't think
pro
he.
with Cruz Azul at 15. He played like first team at 15.
Yeah, no, I remember they were touting him as like the next
Yeah,
best
well, it's the
thing.
same thing with Cade, man. He went pro at 15, 16, but
I
But
was
he's
I
just
was
a
at his
big athletic
debut.
kid.
But
That's it.
he's playing first division foot. I don't think Calvan he just had like maybe a handful of games.
No, I understand,
This
but
guy's at least
not
playing.
talking club, like talking national team, like Jaime's point. That's not a player either country would regret
Yeah.
missing out on.
There's no player that like, oh my god, we let Pepe go. Now he's scoring like 1,000 goals. Like that hasn't happened once, man.
Like you were talking about Ibra. Look at what's his name, Efrain Alvarez.
Mm-hmm.
Ibra said that that was the most talented kid at Galaxy as far as like players, like technique wise. The media ate it up. Like, boom, we stole this kid from the U.S.
Yeah,
Where has he been, man?
it's a great question.
Like he was supposed to be like at this. He's like Marcelo Flores. Everyone expecting them to be on the national
Oh yeah,
starting team at this point.
Dude, that's the Euro hype. Just Marcelo, just because he's in Arsenal, and everyone
yeah.
already thinking
But
that just because you're in Europe that you're this much better. You know that your
I
rating in FIFA has to be 20 points higher than any Liga MX player.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like the problem with Mexico is these debuts and these promesas and these gems, they just carry on too much weight. They carry on too much importance. If we were, popping these out every week in and week out like they do in Argentina and Brazil, we wouldn't even fucking give them the time of day. It's like we just don't have enough, in the pipeline that it just is too much
Yeah,
pressure,
that's
dude.
it. Yeah,
I
that's
remember
it.
a prime example. It didn't even happen to the national team, but at Chivas, when Chicharito left, and we were like, who's gonna fill that void? We had Cubo Torres. He came off on fire, scoring some goals, scored in a Clásico, and then everyone said he's the next Chicharo. And as soon as they said that, bro, he just couldn't handle the pressure because a 17, 18-year-old shouldn't have that responsibility. We should have other players that are carrying that load, and then you develop this kid, and you hopefully he pans out, right? But at 17, 18, at least in Mexico, that shit just it's just we can't handle that pressure.
no, I think that's one of the biggest things, the development, like how you were talking about the comparison with the Netherlands. I don't know if we already spoke about this, but Santi, like he looks faster, and it turns out his club, they noticed the way he was running, he wasn't like using his pelvis properly or something, so they adjusted his running style, and now he's a lot faster. And it's just something that how old is he now, like 21, 22, 23, and that a club like spots that like right away, and like you see how in the season it betters him, something, a detail so small that it makes you think, like, nothing against Liga Mekis, but even those little details on the development level are not being spotted. So that's why these players, when they go over, they're like good, like there's raw natural talent there. It's just they're professionals, and a lot of things that should have been developed in their teen years would never were.
Yeah, that's some very analytical shit they're doing in Holland, man. I know that there was this. I actually texted Cascarita Legend because I might be like helping out coaching, and I remember there was a book by, was it Hurst Wine or what was his name? He was a Dutch coach, very famous, and he had he explained that like we actually in like Holland we don't we don't put like a full 11 on 11 until you're like a teenager. Like
Yeah.
they do like 3 on
Wait, did you
3.
say Coach Klein?
Hurst Wine.
Oh, okay. That you're talking about the coach from Waterboy.
No.
They, yeah, they do that because as youth, so the smaller the the team is more, you have more time at the ball. So you're playing with
Exactly.
a bunch of little kids, and it's 11 versus 11. There's gonna be a couple guys that are never gonna, they're not even
Um,
gonna touch it.
what I think underdevelops here is what I would say is the safety aspect of what the United States has going on. I don't know if you guys know, but in some leagues you can't use your head if you're under 14, I believe.
Oh yeah,
And honestly, that is very, very dumb. Like
it's
that's
pathetic.
such a crucial part of the game that you compare that to what these Brazilian kids could do with their head, and it's kind of pathetic. And um, for my time as watching youth sports and youth leagues at the what is considered a high level youth program, they don't the fouls are very soft at times, and they don't let the game proceed as it should. So it's like very minimal contact at times, which is damaging the sport actually.
Yeah, I noticed one time we had like a scrimmage and we actually had like um a referee who had like gone to the World Cup, and he kind of like ref the game, and he just let the game go, man. Like what normally we would consider fouls, he just like, hey dude, like this is how we do it in the big leagues. Like we just let the play run. It's like not none of these like ticky tacky fouls. Like we just fucking just keep going. And I think like the flow of the game definitely you notice it's one of my biggest criticism in CONCACAF, man. The refereeing here sucks ass, man. And it's just not at the level that it should be. And it does affect like the style of play in this region. It's like someone tugs on your shirt, you automatically grab the ball. You assume there's a foul there. It's like, dude, that shit don't happen in Europe. It's like, come on, man. But it's just different regions, different styles and whatnot. I did want to touch a little bit on the transfer market. So, like I said, it's been an anticlimactic one for Mexicans going to Europe. In fact, we're kind of going backwards. Chivas were rumored with going after Chucky Lozano, and Napoli wants 20 million. And it sounds like they've secured Eric Gutierrez from PSV. Looks like he's going to be returning, and Pulido from Kansas City. So yeah, man, it's like we're not sending people out; we're bringing them back.
Again, same thing, right? Lack of players. There's not that many to go off of. When you look at how many players are available, there's just nothing there. I mean, but can you blame Chivas for going after those type of players?
Nope.
Because
If
and I think
you can't.
right, because I mean their main thing is to win the league. Yeah, fans somehow, and I wouldn't say fans of Liga MX, just fans of the national team. They sort of see the league as if it's there to feed the national team. And I was talking to some guy from the Reddit Liga MX, and they were complaining about why the league sells players too expensive. He was saying 3 million is too expensive. I'm like, in today's market of what you see transfers in Europe of 20 to 60 million, and you're saying 3 million was too much for like for your talent. It's sort of like they don't think that these clubs need to make money, that they have to pay bills, that they have to sustain, and they sort of feel like, all right, whatever talent you have, just send them abroad, like send them for free if you have to, because the national team is going to benefit. But even if the national team benefits, the club doesn't benefit. National team's not going to send them a check. Like, here you go, man. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know,
Exactly.
but yeah, this whole hate over clubs, I think it's very misdirected. I was using Pizarro as an example because I'm saying if you want to leave, you can leave. This narrative that you're being held hostage, it's not really true. And there's a lot of examples of players that they wanted to go abroad and they let their contract run out and they left. Orbelin Pineda is one of them, Torrado from way back. But you have like Pizarro, and he's at Pachuca, and they're sending all these players abroad, and he wants to go, but then there's this like massive transfer to Chivas, 17 million, and he signed. But I mean, because his wages were going to be up there, and he could have let his contract run out, but then he goes and he signs with Monterrey, then he signs with Inter, and what are you going to blame the Mexican clubs? This guy had to take a hit if he wanted to go abroad. He would have been like, all right, I'm gonna let my contract run out, and then I'm gonna see what team would take me out there.
Hey man, club over country. If Tigres, America, Monterrey, they bring a player that plays for their national team, oh, it's an amazing investment. Bringing somebody that played for France, They bring somebody that plays like for Brazil or like whatever. It's an amazing investment. It's making the league stronger. But if Chivas brings a guy in from Europe, Mexican national team, it's like, oh, what are they doing? Like they're killing the national team. Hey man, it's a club. The club's trying to win. And like Guti's 28. What do you think Guti's gonna do if he stays another 4 years there?
He's,
He's gonna make a
he's,
move to Real Madrid or Barcelona? Like he's hit his ceiling pretty much. So that's another
every
reason why he's
everything he
coming
could have
back.
learned, he should have known already.
Yeah, he's coming
If
back for
there's
the
stuff
same
for
reason. Be near his family, be make good money, probably more than that PSV. Be with one of the most popular teams in the country. Like, and why would you say no? Like, why don't know why people are so mad about that move? Like, what? What do you think's gonna happen if he stays there another 4 years?
it's
Hey,
Like,
just this
he's
whole
just trading in stripes for more stripes. That's all he's doing.
that's it, man. And same
with
thing
it.
with Chucky. Like Chucky's what, 27, 28. Even I mean, he's not coming to Chivas or Liga MX in general. But let's say he did. It's like, why would you see it as a bad thing? I mean, when Tigres brought that French guy, Florian or whatever his name was, it was like,
Florian Thauvin,
wow,
yeah.
yeah, everyone was
Yes,
going crazy about it. Why would you go crazy about Chucky, Serie A champion, coming to Liga MX? That's what the club's playing
Oh,
for.
because no other team in Liga MX is saying is holding up their jersey with pride and saying we're the most Mexican team. Our cantera is the Mexican national team. Watch us. We're Mexican. You're not. That's why.
But that's what makes your cantera better. You want your canteranos trying to earn a spot against
yeah,
Morsa Flores or Guti, or trying to earn a spot against
exactly.
Antuna or Chucky.
Or are you
Bringing
gonna
in
send
good
them to
Mexicans is
Juarez?
gonna make your canteranos better.
So yeah,
huh.
I find it very surprising that Joel says that
Says what?
about the because about the Mexican national team. Because I remember in the World Cup, I said that I came on here and I told you guys that there wasn't enough players to go, that the league doesn't produce enough players to pick from. And you
Yeah,
and Joel, you said it again. You said it's not the league's
yeah.
responsibility to feed the national team.
Was not.
But
It's
but
not.
but then the last podcast you said that Mexico is one of the only leagues that the national team, I mean, that has its league and its national team is pretty much intertwined. Like it's
It is the club owners are they make up the Federación Mexicana de Fútbol.
then
So
what are we
that
talking about then, Joel? Isn't that
because
little
because you only have like a handful of owners because out of what 18 teams, uh, you know, there's only about 4 or 5 that have a lot of money. The rest are pretty much on the day by day. So those are the teams that they need to do whatever they can because again, I'm gonna use the same examples I keep using. You end up with teams like Jaguares, Veracruz, Lobos Buap, you
Juarez?
know, all
Which
these teams.
Chivas just sent all their canteranos of Juarez.
There's something going on at Juarez. I don't understand this. Someone
Yeah.
someone brought in some money there because they had the ex Tigres president,
The lady's
and
loaded,
then
man.
he
She's loaded.
he brought Tuca, right, and then they brought some former national team players, some pretty good transfers, and now they're yeah. So the lady you said is like some lady owner, or
Her husband is like a railroad or oil magnate of some sort. So she's got cash on her.
she's like the
I don't know
Angelica
about
of
all
Juarez.
that, but she has cash. But another thing
Yeah,
I just wanted to call out Joel for, because
go okay,
you're saying a lot of the things I disagree with, man.
go.
Then what's the point of all these teams having uh canteras and doing the under 17
But
and
to
Chivas?
feed their first, to feed their first,
How many
their
players are playing
squad.
in the first division? Does it work? We
Well, I
always
mean,
come
because
It
on and
they're
we
does
not.
say
work. You just
I
said
mean,
it.
look,
You just said Chivas sent 2 guys over to Juarez. They're gonna play first division.
there
You're
you
gonna
go.
let them develop. I mean,
but
other teams do that. Madrid, they bring up players from their academy. No players from the academy play for the first team. but they loan them out, and if one pans out right, then they bring him back.
But if none of
Yeah,
them pan out right, you can't brag about it.
yeah, but you don't see even in those teams, you don't see them like their squad's not filled with teams from their cantera. Like you're not like it used to be before. You're not really seeing that with Barcelona, where it's like half of the team is canterano. Right? You're not gonna see that.
But I like how you guys distracted from the main point, man.
No, I mean, it's
No,
too
not this.
it has to do
About
with
the
money.
news.
About what?
Oh,
About the news.
What
No one
news?
What news?
cares about the la La Copa de Chorro. No one cares about that.
like
The Diarrhea Cup, Gold Cup,
which which one is
Copa
it?
Ora,
Copa
Copa
Oro,
Oro,
Copa
Copa
de
de
Chorro.
Chorro.
I like that.
Oh man,
No one cares about it because, like, I heard Jaime say, and I don't even watch anymore because I know what's gonna happen. Mexico's gonna throw a cross, and there's a big black guy at the other end that's gonna beat the small Mexican to it.
That's what I said.
Year after every 2 years with this Gold Cup, the same thing, and I don't even watch it anymore. I was watching Palmeiras pork that Bolivian team. That's what I was watching. No, but the main news, you might as well just hand the trophy to America. Quiñones is coming to El Nido de Guapa, man. We're gonna win it.
Man,
We're gonna win the 18.
they got him cheap too, 10 million.
And you guys are bragging about what's that guy's name? Guti or
Yeah, I was gonna find that clip where it's like el only haitiano que había, you know? Yeah.
Hey, I called into this show the very first time I predicted this. I told Jaime that Eric Gutierrez is gonna end up playing in Chivas. You can check the VAR. I called in and I said that,
Yeah.
and I also said he's a scrub. He's been in Europe for 5 years. Al Pastor said Habibi said that he already reached the ceiling. I would say he never had a ceiling.
It's a
How
low ceiling, but he reached it.
I remember when he was playing at Pachuca, and for some reason people were hyping him, and I'm like, he pretty much got to go to Europe because he held up a Chucky Lozano PSV jersey, and everyone was saying, "Oh, the PSV fans were like, oh, because Chucky is having a good season over there. He probably scores a bunch of goals too. We should get him." And he's been very inconsistent. He never even won the starting job.
I
He's
agree.
like he has that lovable loser look to him, and he's always smiling. And I guess
Hey, so you're
I
telling me he's a
agree.
perfect fit? That sounds great, man. He's gonna fit just nicely at Chivas.
exactly, and that's what I said. He's not gonna stand out, and Chivas should buy him. And there you go, man. I predicted it once again.
I agree with everything you're saying, but I'm not complaining about it though, because the transfer fee is not that bad for like what you're getting and what you have on the bench. It kind of works out, honestly.
It works out, dude.
Yeah,
Leave our trash alone, you know.
he's above average. He's like for Liga MX, he's above average.
I like that meme. I follow that guy, that Strago guy,
Yeah,
and he had a
the pin.
meme.
Yeah,
The raccoon. He's like,
yeah,
when someone talks shit about Chivas, and he has a raccoon. He's like, don't talk about my
yeah. It's like
trash.
don't no toques mi basura. Oh, I found the clip.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a classic, man. Uh yeah. With Liga MX returning tomorrow, Quinones, is it a wrapped? Is it a done deal, or is it still?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And with that, I wonder how much of a push there will be to cap him for the national team.
Mm. Now that the Argentino's gone, maybe not much.
Oh yeah,
Cervantuna, I'll take it.
you know what's
But
sad is like Antuna's the guy to beat, right? That's literally like the standard right now is the bar. It's not even that high of a bar. The guy's like mediocre, dude. And
Wait, does he even have the nationality?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, he
Yeah,
does.
yeah, yeah.
He's been here since he was like 19, man.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
not here. I mean, in Mexico.
Let's also call up Rosarena, bro. Let's see what he can do.
He kind of looks like him.
Well,
You know who
Antuna's
lives
gonna
at
be posted.
Rosarena? The Cuba goalkeeper, and it turned out to be their brothers. I didn't know that.
Really?
Yep, the Cuba goalkeeper and Randy are brothers. I was
Like
like, this guy looks like them, and no, they're actually brothers,
legit brothers?
legitimate
No
brothers, same last name and
way.
everything.
I saw that jersey yesterday. I'm like, is he? Are they? How many Rosarenas are there in Cuba, man?
No, they're legitimate brothers.
Yo, that's nuts. That's cool, man. You see every now and then players playing, brothers playing for different national teams in soccer, right? You've had like the Prince Boying and his brother, and then you have the U.S. has a player. He plays for his brother plays, I think, for El Salvador or one of those teams. Yeah,
Roldan, right?
yeah,
The Boateng brothers.
yeah.
And the most famous ones, the Dos Santos brothers, man.
What about him?
Gio and Jonathan.
They both play for the same national team, though. I'm talking about different national teams,
Oh, okay.
like different
And they
countries.
were both booty at America. Didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Well, El Pollo Briseño pretty much butchered his thigh, man,
Hey,
on
what
national TV.
did that like end up retiring him? Because like casuals asked me about Gio. Like, what happened to Gio? I'm like, honestly, like I think he just lost a part of his thigh and never came back, dude.
Gio's been retired, man. Even before that,
Yeah.
dude was just collecting a paycheck.
Yeah, it was sad to see because I remember when he arrived at the Galaxy and like the first couple months, every game he was like a goal and an assist. He's both or one of each, and he was just like he looked like he was just gonna tear the league apart. And then all of a sudden he just like disappeared, and that was that, dude.
Well, tearing MLS apart, that's not hard to do, man.
Doesn't matter, but you still want like you haven't really had Mexicans do that, right? Where they come to the league and then they kind of show just how talented they are, and they're able to do that, like because you want to see that dominance, sort of how you had Chicharo
We had
when he was in the EPL and he was like
Cuauhtemoc.
scoring.
Cuauhtemoc did a great at Fire, dude.
He was up there in age and he wasn't exactly
And I
like
think
like a truly dominant force, dude.
I think
like
Jorge
like
Campos too was pretty good,
Jorge Campos.
Campos was decent, yeah, took the team, but
and
I
Cubo
mean like
Torres.
dominant, dude. Like Google was the leading goal scorer, but I mean like dominant, dude. Like do you know what I
Pues
mean?
qué
Like
más quieres,
Carlitos Vela,
Well,
güey?
what about Hector?
no,
Herrera?
because those are just guys that played good. I
Dude,
mean,
Cuau
that
Wait,
got
what do you
subbed
mean?
in at
He was
halftime.
dominant.
Cuau would get
Carlitos
subbed
Vela was
out.
not dominant.
Dude, Cuauhtemoc would
like truly dominant, dude. Like
would
they
get
played.
subbed in and take over the game.
Did he win? Did he win the league?
He won the All-Star game thing, MVP.
That's
Dude,
pretty much the
Carlitos
same as the
Vela,
league, man.
his first season with LA, he was like the most dominant player in MLS.
Cool.
Carlos Vela. That
He
first
was.
season he had
That's
with
the
LA,
yes, he was. He
he
was.
was the
Yep.
most dominant player in the MLS.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
He
same
was.
guy
Yeah.
that just got ragdolled by Leon.
Yeah.
That Carlos Vela.
It's the
That
one that
Yes.
that one
Vela.
didn't do a fucking thing in that
I mean,
final.
Hey,
look,
but
man,
that
it
first
doesn't
season
matter.
though, that first season, he was the best.
Yes.
No, he had a
That's
great.
not
that.
saying
He had a
that's
great
not
And
debut.
the
that's
best.
and that's what I mean to that extent, you know, because like it shouldn't matter. It could be the Honduras third division. You still want your players going out there and being amongst the best. That's ultimately what raises like your market value. Like so when you see like Argentines and like they're all over like Central America, and I bet every other club like their key player is like some RG we never heard of or some Brazilian, and
I
I
think
think it makes
I think Rafa Marquez might go down as the worst signing in DP history.
when he was at
New York.
what was
I
it?
don't know.
Sports drink.
What does that mean,
Um,
DP?
You tell me what that means, dog.
No, I don't know. Seriously, I don't
You're
know.
wrong,
Designated
wrong,
players.
wrong podcast.
Deep
So
You're,
pockets.
you're wrong.
they have
uh,
like
That's
crazy roster rules. I don't even know the rules, but you can have like designated spots where like there's no salary cap. Like you can pay them as much as you want, but all the other players on the roster have limits. But you can trade your designated spots to other teams. It's a bunch of bullshit, bro. It's
yeah,
confusing. I don't know. They got general money.
general
Some
money.
other yeah, like they got like general money allocation and like another like TMA money, whatever it means.
Oh, what the fuck?
It's and then you need to have certain players under 22. It's like
you seem to
confusing, bro.
know. You seem to know an awful lot, boy.
Yeah,
No,
dude.
but it's confusing. Like I
Did
know
you?
the terms,
Did you?
but I don't
I
know
don't know
how
all
they
the
work.
rules, but
No,
here they
you know
are.
what?
No, I know the terms, but
Wait,
I don't know how they
did you
work,
see?
like how they're
I don't
Did you
go to all the
see?
games, but I'm a season ticket holder. You know.
Did, did, did you see the other guys when the in the movie and Mark Wahlberg starts dancing ballet and he's like, well, I don't know. He said he just learned it to make fun of a kid.
Oh, yeah.
That's this guy right now.
No, which
I
is
just
annoying.
learned the
It's like
rules to
with
make fun of them.
America right now getting Quinones. Imagine if you had to ask, so is he taking the designated spot? Or what spot is he doing on the roster? It's like annoying. Like, bro, just spend
Yeah,
your
Yeah.
that
money.
that does all of that holds. Yeah, that holds back this league as far as like building stronger teams.
That's
So
what
it's
that
like,
LAFC coach said. That loser, that Chirizolo, when he got dominated by
I'm gonna tell him you
Leon.
said that.
Well, that guy's a scrub, man. He got completely dominated, and he made up excuses on the fly because his team was crap against Leon. And
Bro,
and
you're
no
in
one in the
charge of a
media, no one in the
billion
media
dollar
said
franchise.
that Liga MX took over as the best league in Concacaf after they beat LAFC. But when Seattle, the whatever they're called, when they beat up a makeshift Pumas team, th- they're the next the next Premier League. They're the next Calcio USA, man. Like
they
they're the
the
best
really
ever.
good Peruvian dude. I'm still hurting
I want to
losing
give
that
a
guy at Liga MX.
I want to give a chance for Lopez to rebuttal. It seemed like he you pinched a nerve
Yes.
there.
Oh, did
Well, the last part with the Pumas. I am a Pumas fan. I'm gonna admit that right now. Uh, that Chorundolo line is pretty funny though. I
But
know.
you
I know.
agree it was a makeshift Pumas team. They had like a fourth tier Brazilian, a third division Brazilian that
Did they have
was
like a
they,
coaching
they,
them.
Panamanian too
He was
somewhere
they
like
in
the
were
there?
baker in Brazil.
they, they
Hey,
were like when they go shopping for players, it's like when you
it
go
was
The
and the
bargain
prices
bin.
have been reduced.
yeah. It was
Yeah,
a great
bargain
value.
bin.
A great value
Things
from
have been
Walmart.
reduced like 3 times already. It's
It's
just
like
Convenience
trying to get rid of
store.
it's like I
So
don't
you're a
know, man. Just
section at
stick
the
your hand
dollar
in there
store.
and see what comes out.
manager special.
And the $1 billion team got dominated by Equipo de Rancho. It was
Ay,
beautiful to see.
way.
Oh, dude,
Yes,
no, come
I
on,
The
agree.
dude. No.
$1 billion big buck guys, they got completely dominated off the field. But you know the double standard with Liga MX and MLS.
I
Uh,
LAS,
agree. Tell me the
LAFC.
bomb.
Money always doesn't translate talent.
No, that's true, but you got to tell him that he looked like a bum because he's the face of $1 billion club, a club that's valued $1 billion,
all these.
and after he loses, he comes out and says, "There's more money on that side of the table, bro." If you were like FC Dallas or like Colorado Rapids, like you can get away with it, but you're $1 billion club value wise, and you just lost to Leon. And the first thing you start talking about is money, even when your wage bill is higher than Leon. Or if you were playing like Tigres or Monterrey and you lost, I'll even buy it. But the fact that he lost to Leon and the first thing he started talking about was money, come on. Like
Yeah,
it looked stupid. And I knew where he was trying to go with it. He shouldn't express it right. He was trying to go with it that the MLS financial rules as far as how to build your roster limit you. I knew what he was trying to say, but the way he said it just came off stupid by saying there's more money on that side of the table when you just lost to Leon.
I
You have more freedom to spend your money in Liga MX how you want as opposed to MLS.
yeah, I agree. I think in all honesty, they just didn't know how to react towards that loss. Leon really, excuse my language, but really bitch smacked them in the first few minutes of the game with that high pressure. Um, uh, there's always a manager that's gonna run its course. Chorundolo, though, as far as the stats, they're absolutely amazing. That's why I cannot. I'm again. Uh, I'm a little bit of bias. I'm a little bit of Galaxy fan too, but his stats speak for themselves. Uh, if he gets a hold of a bigger team, he can do some real damage. But again, uh, the players of Leon knew how to handle those situations because they've been there. They've been in those big games already.
I
Uh,
remember watching a CONCACAF crap final. It was TJ against LA Galaxy, and LA Galaxy had like Roy Keane on there, and they got smacked around too by Cholos.
yeah,
What year was this? Cholos had a pretty good squad for a
They had
while.
Benedetto. They did have him, but still, I
Yeah,
mean,
there you go.
and you gotta give
you,
like I know you gotta give Leon players some credit, but let's be honest. LAFC got outcoached. Like Larcamon, tactically, he's one of the best technicians in Liga MX,
Ay,
and
güey.
he outcoached them.
¿Ya
Oh
lo
man,
estás cromeando, güey?
no, for promising youth
Have it a
coaches.
little Noxo.
No, he knows his stuff. Like he
he
really knows his stuff.
he told
No,
that
he does. He does.
he
I
told
agree.
that Chorizolo guy. He pretty much like Amon told him, go home and get your fucking shine box, man. That's what he
Yeah,
told him.
he cooked them, man. Like tactically. So that first half in Leon, since LAFC has been the club, that's the most touches they did in their own box, not their own half, their own box. Like Leon was just on them that whole first half. Like that first leg should have ended, like 4-0, 5-0. And Larcamon did his work, and then he showed it on the second leg too. That's the other thing. Like LAFC got out coached. They got out coached. They got outplayed. Everything.
Yeah, I was there,
That's
They're
why
man.
they look like bums talking about money as an excuse.
they're lucky America didn't play him because that
Ah,
that that game would have ended up on the Pornhub channel instead of the on the through the end, man. That's
Eres
it
un
would have been like
estúpido.
12 zip, bro. 12 zip.
always gotta call. Always gotta bring America into this. Always. We have some chats on the YouTube. Disco Fever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Televisa Joel's dream is to have an only Liga MX all-star based Mexican national team coached by a fatter piojo.
Right?
That guy's been going at Joel since the last podcast, man.
It's
I was on the
true. It's
YouTube
true.
chat. He's
Yeah,
going
Yes.
after
maybe
you,
this
We
man.
guy
gotta,
hides
hey, Disco, you
something.
gotta hop on Twitter, dog.
Personal, man.
No, I grew up actually seeing Televisa as a bad guy, and I think it's the narrative gets shaped that way because we hear the media, we hear the story, so we hear all this like they control this
Nah,
and they
you
do
let
all that.
Soccer Chronicles brainwash you. That's what you did.
Nah, dude, we we didn't actually agree on some of this stuff. Well, a lot of it we do, but you see what they've done for Mexican football and how much it's advanced, and they played a big part in it. They played a big part in Mexico hosting 3 World Cups. So it's
Business.
actually they've done. I know, but still, that's what ultimately that's what it is. It's
But that's their
business
job, man.
first, sport second.
It's like you compliment a parent for taking care of their kids. That's your job. If
No,
they're in
but
charge
No, but
of the
everyone's
okay,
football
complaining
but I'm
about
saying
and the
Televisa.
team, that's their job.
But what's the alternative to Televisa since everyone has like these X Files,
well, there
Golden?
wasn't there. That's the thing. There
Exactly.
wasn't. The Aztecas pretty recent. They came into the picture in the '90s, and even then, it's not like they had all this money
And
to
they were
do
paying all
things.
the TV rights to all these teams. So what are these?
And well, there's the other thing where when Televisa was, you had some of these clubs that didn't have money, and they ended up owning like 3 or 4 clubs, and they were being attacked. And now you kind of have the same thing with like Grupo Orlegui with Santos and Atlas, and then Grupo Pachuca, right? And they get praised, and
And now
so
you see it in the Premier League, Joel, and no one's saying anything. There's
exactly, so,
multiplicidad in the Premier League. So is everyone gonna
yeah.
stop watching the Champions League now and the Premier League because of this? The
Yeah.
double
See,
standards, man.
it
America
is.
always comes out.
Well, because of the
America
media,
are
you
like
know.
are like the Anne Frank of
So,
football, just persecuted for no
oh,
reason.
just
What?
hiding. hiding. Too much. No, dude. But,
America,
but
America is the biggest cheater in all of Liga MX.
I'm
I'm gonna
pretty
leave
sure
it there.
America was doing the persecuting.
Because and I wanted to
The
call you guys out
Gestapo.
because you guys are always talking bad about my precious America and about the national team. But I saw an article where there and I even heard a couple of commentators on the football shows, like on Spicy Soccer and stuff like that. They were saying that Almauri straight to DVD Vergara, his because that's where all his movies go to. That he voted for Coca on the national team.
well, everyone in the committee did. So when they did that football committee, right, with the guy from the Ron, the owner of or the president of Cholos, and
Caliente.
you had Caliente, and you had Orlegi, and yeah, like two more guys there. So I mean, they all had to vote on it.
And that's just political favors. Is like, hey,
Yeah,
Amadi,
there
vote
you
for
go.
this guy, and we got you on this. Caliente, they sponsored Chivas. Chivas gets more money from Caliente than Liga MX gets from Caliente. That's how strong that partnership is.
Yeah, it's mucky and the water's very dirty indeed. Um, Not something that's gonna change overnight. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true. That's what we said last time, that the league and the federation have to be two complete separate things. But no, the league owners also control the federation, so that's why you'll never see progress.
Well, I
And
mean, people.
that's why I'm a Germany fan now, man. I don't believe in Mexico will ever win anything.
¿Tienes la
I'm,
sangre alemana o qué, güey?
I'm gonna look for it. I'm gonna
Ariana,
make it up.
Aryan, yes,
You
I'm gonna
Aryan,
just
brother.
study for it.
compared America to Anne Frank, and now you're German. You're on both sides, buddy.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
man, gotta do what you gotta do. Mexico isn't gonna do nothing, man. In the next Gold Cup, you can see the same thing. Another
I think
cross, another big
you
black
picked the
guy. The
wrong time
same
to
thing.
jump ship. They've gone two World Cups, not being able to get out of the group stage.
Hey, they'll be
Mm.
back though.
Maybe you wanna
We'll be
go
back,
pick
man. We'll be
France,
They'll
back.
be
maybe
back.
France or Italy. Maybe.
They'll be back.
We have Liga MX kicking off tomorrow with America and Juarez. Talk about a perfect game for America to dominate. But who knows, Juarez got reinforced with some players. We'll see how it goes. And then also Mazatlan Pachuca. But the real kickoff doesn't start till Monday with Chivas and Leon. That's what I say. But man, this really creeped up on us. I was not ready for Liga MX to return so quickly. And we
Right
still
in the middle of the Gold Cup.
we're in the middle of a Gold Cup, man. It's just
At the start, really.
And they're gonna rest for a month because of that shitty cup that they're promoting.
no
Yeah, I'll be
way.
honest. I found out it started
No way.
tomorrow.
The League's
Today I
Cup?
found out it started.
Messi versus Antuna, biggest
Yep,
match of 2023.
they're playing 4 matches, and then Liga MX resumes at the end of August.
Wow.
That's why they're starting so early. It's just trying to sneak 4 matches in
I
so they
see.
can finish by December.
All games
The
on
League's Cup.
VIX.
Well, we'll see if Antuna can teach Messi anything.
Yeah, maybe he'll teach him how to get dentures or veneers, dude. That dude's got a yeah.
I'm gonna love watching Messi sweep Cruz Azul.
Hey,
It's gonna be great.
Hey, who knows, man? You don't know.
you're going up
All
against
right.
Tuca
This might
Ferretti.
sound like a dumb question, but did they officially announce him?
I haven't seen
Yes,
it.
sir.
Like
Oh, you
official
mean like
official?
at the club? No, it's been like pictures and stuff.
Yeah, like I don't know. I've been waiting for that. It's
He's
All,
at
all that
he's at
hype
the
has died
Bahamas
down,
right
man.
now.
huh?
That Messi hype has kind of died down compared to where they finally said that he was gonna join the Miami Cranes or whatever they are.
Well, we got to
But,
see who else Inter brings on, because from the sounds of it, they're bringing on a couple other guys.
Busquets.
Yeah, Busquets already. Jordi Alba looks to be another one, but
How can they afford that? That's crazy.
you don't ask questions. That's how.
Ah,
Wait, but Liga MX has more money, Jaime. Liga
no.
MX has more money.
I know. I don't know how they get around the loophole of like only having one DP.
Honestly, with what they're doing with these contracts, with especially with Inter, from what the understanding is that there's a whole consensus of all teams. I'm not sure if they're gonna allow. You guys remember that New York Cosmos team?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's literally what they're trying to do with Inter. But yeah, the contract
Wait,
situation
they're
very.
gonna bring five. They're gonna bring like five world class players
They're gonna bring
to
in
be around
Beckenbauer.
Messi.
basically,
They,
bend the rules for them and then just find them. But it doesn't matter.
It'll be
because
like,
man,
hey,
Cosmos was
But that's
loaded,
it.
your
dude.
salary's a
Cosmos was like the
dollar.
first Galactico team.
Your salary's $1 a year, but we're gonna find ways to, pay you under the table.
And honestly, I mean, that Messi move, everything MLS did to bring Messi, it was way too much. Because Messi's not going to grow the sport here that much more compared to, like, for example, if you went to like Saudi Arabia. Like, look at Cristiano. Cristiano goes to Saudi Arabia, he gives a stamp of approval, and all these other players are starting to go. MLS before Messi joining, there was a lot of young European players, like 25, 28 range. A lot of young South Americans, like the guy who plays for Argentina, Almada or whatever with Atlanta United. There was a lot of good players already coming over. So they didn't need that stamp of approval. They already had their stamp of approval with Wayne Rooney, Henri, Beckham, like those guys.
Just
So
TV ratings, dude.
I fucking forgot Rooney playing the MLS.
yeah, but no, but it's not even TV ratings. Oh, for example, like I'm a huge Cristiano Ronaldo fan, dude. I watched like his first game, and then I watched the Saudi Arabia All Stars versus PSG. Haven't seen a single like All Star game ever since, because it's like I don't want to buy a subscription service to do it. And I'm sure, look at Argentinos, they got 100% inflation. You think they're gonna buy MLS pass just to watch Messi?
Nah, dude,
You
they
always
got
go
a
for that, dude.
Roja Directa
Nah.
way.
Why are
Come
you
on,
going
bro.
abroad? Why are you going abroad? It's all here.
Hey, how'd
Yeah,
you watch
It's all
that
here.
game
It's
you
all
though?
think
within
people
the U.S.
really want to watch Messi that bad? No, like he's
Yes,
not
a lot
gonna
of
Dude,
he's not gonna
casuals.
grow the sport
all
A
the
of
lot of
their
same way that
casuals
games,
will see it.
European players are like, oh, Messi's in
all of their
MLS, let
games
me
are
go too.
sold out for the rest of the
Stop,
season.
stop. There you go.
That
You
doesn't mean
always
anything, man.
go. You always go with who's gonna do abroad. Who cares? They're not
Messi,
doing. They're not doing it for abroad. They're not doing it for Europe. They're not doing it for. They're doing it for right here, and they're doing it for future customers too. Got a bunch of little kids and all of that, and they get
No,
to
but it
see
doesn't
and they
grow the
see the
sport.
hype. It does grow the sport,
No,
dude.
I'm gonna tell you what doesn't grow the sport because you guys when I came on, you were talking about like pay for play or whatever. It's the
That
same
was in
thing here.
Mexico.
What?
I
No,
don't.
but it's the same thing in the U.S. with Messi. You know what those Inter Miami things are going to become? Like Formula One, where like the richest of the rich go to the event. Those Messi tickets, Inter Miami tickets, like nosebleeds, they're like $300 each.
Yeah,
Yep.
You think
yeah,
like an
but that's a
average
stadium.
family? You think an average family can afford even a family
No,
of
but
two, six
they
hundred
could
bucks for one game?
they could
You
pay
only
Apple
it's not
TV
going to grow it
streaming.
because you know who's buying it? Fair weather fans with money. Once it's no longer cool, it's going to go back down. That doesn't
It
grow the
will.
It
sport
still
if you
makes an
just keep it.
impact, dude. It's still like,
It makes a short term impact,
but
but
like,
not a
dude,
long term impact.
everybody knows who Messi is. Everybody knows who
Yeah,
Ronaldo is. You have them playing in your backyard, like, dude, trust me, man. It's
yeah,
kids,
but then
bro.
after they leave, no
Uh,
one's gonna
uh,
care.
I
Exactly.
think
yeah.
I think
There'll be people left.
Did they care when Pele left? No.
Yes, yes, they
Like,
did. The
oh, come
league
on, they
died
did
though.
not care when Pele
Yes,
left.
they did. The
I think
league died here, man. I'm
I
sorry.
think we
Go on, dude.
no, yeah, no. I think we forget what Messi can do, and if he can produce that magic here in the MLS, I think it'll attract a lot more fans. I have a little bit more insight into what Adidas sells, and I'll tell you this: as soon as Messi got announced, everything absolutely locked down. They did not want to sell any more jerseys. They did not want to do any more ticket transfers. Everything was locked down for about 3 days. No teams, no big retailer stores, no individual people that wanted to buy big amounts of Inter Miami could at that moment. And as of right now, um, from what they've told me and what they're releasing, that I believe they're going to try to release something else for the Leagues Cup. Uh, it looks like everything's going to be sold out till October. So the impact that I think Messi's having is it's not it's, I don't think it's measured right now just because he hasn't even stepped foot on a pitch, but as soon as he steps foot on that field, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
you're going to see that
and
impact.
let's not forget the whole Apple thing for the streaming
He's getting a cut of that.
and and then how the service and what they want to do with the sport. Jaime, you shared that video that was talking about how Apple markets their products,
Yeah.
They're
and I think
hemorrhaging
that's
money, man. They're not making money.
who.
Apple. They've even seen a reporter say it's been an absolute dud over here in the U.S. and they're
Yep.
trying to promote it in Mexico. Who's gonna pay
Wait,
that amount of money?
they're hemorrhaging money. Apple as a company
For
with
No,
their
no,
phones.
the MLS, MLS.
with the MLS deal.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah,
them
they're making
buying
but
money
the.
see,
on that.
but see that they make so much money
Yeah, it
that
doesn't fucking
hemorrhage
matter.
it's not a hemorrhage,
Yeah,
dude. It's like a scratch, not even a scratch. They don't
dude.
feel it, dude.
Then
They
that
can afford to
scratch
do
turns
that.
into a stab, and then
Nah,
there
they
comes an open
Nah,
wound,
dude,
man.
it's Apple,
no,
bro.
not if you have that
Apple,
money, dude.
look, this is what Apple's doing. They're willing to take a L on this MLS thing. It's just like the first step, dude. But with we're gonna go kind of on a tangent here, but technology, like you're gonna have to pick where you like. We're gonna get to a certain point, especially with VR and AR. Like, what ecosystem do you want to live in? Do you want to live in the Google world? Do you want to live in the Meta world? Do you want to live in the Apple world? And Apple's gonna start acquiring more and more sports. They did it with baseball. They're doing it now with MLS. But it's gonna get to the point where it's like you're not gonna leave like the Apple ecosystem, and that's kind of like the end game for them. And they're doing that with sports. So, yeah, dude, this is kind of just like an experiment for them. But yeah, they haven't shared any like viewership. They haven't showed the money. It's probably not good. Like no one's watching MLS, dude. And now even more less with the paywall or whatever. But now that they have this big shiny player Messi, I think it will cause like subscriptions to go up, and I think it will cause like a spike in whatever they're doing, and it's just the start of this.
So what you're saying is I'll be able to purchase my VR headset and
Yes,
see Messi get a more fake penalty calls like in the World Cup.
Yeah, you get to
and
see
then
that in AR, bro.
you
Yeah.
could see El Niño Polla in like 3D.
Who? What?
Don't give me any ideas, man.
it's it's as soon as
Hey,
this guy said
but
heroes.
if you don't mind, Lopez just mentioned something when you guys were arguing.
Sure.
Well, I was arguing too. What am I saying? Uh, about the he mentioned a certain name that I always, whenever I call in here, I always diminish because that guy's been an absolute loser ever since he left Europe. The Hector Herrera.
Oh yeah, man.
Did you guys hear his comments about saying?
What do you say?
He said that. Oh, it seems that ever since that I've been blackballed. Ever since I came to the MLS, they don't want to call me to the national team anymore. And that's kind of the idea, man. Like once you go to the MLS, you're retired, dude. Like, what are you expecting? Do you keep getting starting spots in the World Cup like you did?
If you're playing good, sure.
Nah,
You
nah.
know,
Dude, I check.
it,
MLS is a
Nah.
cesspool, dude. It's a retirement
it,
league completely. Once
yeah,
you come here to the US to play soccer, you pretty much like Messi said in the statement. He said, "I came to the MLS para no tener tanto foco, para que no me pegue tanto foco. No, no attention, no limelight on me. Pretty much saying, I came here to
I
retire,
don't
man.
think he knows
Leave
what
me
he's
alone."
talking about. But no, I think you're too harsh on the league, man. You have.
No,
I'll
no
give you a
way.
good
He's
example
right.
of
Not being too
no,
harsh, man. He's right.
No,
no, because
because
we
Hor, you said once because we're talking about this, and you said once, oh, it's his life. If he wants to come to the MLS, like let him do whatever he wants. It's his life, right? He's gonna provide for his family, and I
yes,
completely agree with you, man. That's if he's gonna pay his is he's gonna feed his kids and his wife or whatever. That's
But he's making less money by coming here instead
Uh,
of going to Saudi Arabia.
yeah,
No, he's making more money long term with all the back end stuff.
I don't know,
Like,
dude. They
yeah,
were
I
throwing
no,
some
guess,
he's
but
getting like
stupid
a
oil money at
percentage
him.
in the subscriptions. He's getting like a some type of cut with Adidas.
Bro, they were throwing
There's
him like,
claims of him getting stake and ownership or
yeah.
being able to choose his future club. Look at Beckham. He got his club for what, like 20, 50 million or something. And now it's worth, his investment's worth 500 million. It's going to be the
damn.
same thing.
Yeah, but
If
he's gonna find out.
LAFC,
He's gonna
if
find out that he's
LAFC is
gonna pay
valued at a
taxes here.
billion, of the other teams are eventually going to catch up
He's
on
not
the
used to
back
paying
end.
taxes, dog. He's gonna find out that Uncle Sam's gonna take a fat cut of whatever he signed up for.
Probably, hey man,
a good
that's why you
point.
got offshore accounts or something. I
Whereas
don't know,
in
but
Saudi Arabia, bro, they were throwing 73 virgins at him and fucking.
it was all
73.
right now. It was like right now and enjoy. And MLS gave him like something that I think long term is going to be more than Saudi Arabia in the long term, and it's going to be consistent. It's going to be passive. It's going to be there.
I'm a
But no,
little,
I agree with Ricardo, man.
yeah.
MLS is booty. You know what I'm telling you? It's booty. Because look, so I watched the St. Louis City games. They got Berkey, who's a goalkeeper that used to play for Dortmund, and they got this guy named Leuven, who I had never heard before. So he came to St. Louis. He's a designated player. He's like number 10. The guy's a baller. He's fucking amazing. He's one of the favorites for MVPs for the league. So he got hurt like 2 weeks ago, and Berkey is rated the best goalie in the league. It's same thing with Carlos Vela. Carlos Vela comes in and he dominates best player in the league. So you have these guys who like in Europe they were like mid level, or even Leuven. I've never even have you ever heard of Edu Leuven? I had never heard of Edu Leuven,
Bro, you're making my
but he's
dick
a
soft with all this MLS talk, man.
no.
You
But
got
I'm just saying these guys come in,
Hey,
no one
it's
has
booty.
ever
Let
heard
me
of
tell you
them,
why.
and they dominate. They're like MVP favorites. So Ricardo's right. It's a booty league. Like Hector Herrera, you're playing with in a league that guys come in that no one's ever heard of, and they dominate. So why you
Yeah, but
expect to be called up to
you
the
could
national
still
team?
benefit from it. And so I'll give you an example. You had Carlos Salcedo, and he wasn't getting much playing time. He was at Chivas, then at Tigres. He goes to Real Salt Lake. He starts getting more playing time. And at that point, he started getting scouted by a European team. And then I think it was Nestor de la Torre that went and brought him back to Chivas. Even hooked him up with a, with a contract with a clause if he gets an offer from abroad. But he still ended up going to Europe. So in that way it's good. Like if you're like a young Mexican player, you're not getting any shot in Liga MX. Why not go to MLS if you're
But
gonna
that's not
get?
what we were talking about. We were talking about Hector Herrera joining MLS and expecting
Well,
this team
yeah,
to call
but
up.
I'm saying,
It's not good
but
enough. We're talking about
yeah,
two different things now.
but he's a veteran player. If he stays in shape and he's still performing, it's not like his quality just dropped.
Yeah, but you're talking about a guy
You know,
who's a
like
professional star at Atletico Madrid playing against college Division 1
don't
players.
don't matter.
No, but
It,
at
I
what
mean,
point
like
are we gonna
I mean,
watch
like
the game?
look at Gio for example. His club career wasn't that good. He A lot of times he was sent to second division or was just bench. But when he would come to the national team, he he would perform. He would bring it.
I think he had a decent spell at Villarreal, but
Yeah, but
aside from that,
go
yeah,
back, go back. Yeah,
it's
he
just like
didn't do much.
we don't have enough competition in the national team that we will take a freaking bench player in Europe and he'll be a starter on the national team. And I think Ache expected that same treatment when he went to, Houston or whatever. But I'll be honest, bro, that guy fell off the face of the earth when he made that move. I haven't kept up with him. It's like, how do you go from Atleti, bro, playing in the one of the best leagues in the world, to fucking Houston, dog? Like, what, man?
oh, dude, and the worst part of his interview, he said que his first year fue una mierda, that he wanted to leave. Like he couldn't handle it. Like he didn't
Funes
like
Gol.
the. Was that
Funes Gol.
Funes goal?
No, Hector Herrera.
Yeah,
Oh.
Herrera.
Oh, I thought he was talking about Funes Mori. My bad.
No.
No, no. Yeah, Herrera was just saying that his first season Dynamo was shit. Like his wife was questioning why they even made the move. Like, he's thinking about like undoing his contract, and then he like gave it another. No, she wanted to do the end contract. He told her like it would get better, and eventually did. But I was like, come on, bro. Like you're in Houston with all Mexicans getting paid really good money, and you're talking about you're struggling to adapt. Come on now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
dude.
happens.
Dude, have you
Yeah.
ever been to Madrid? You go to Madrid, then you go to Houston. You're like, what the hell is this bullshit,
Well,
man?
no,
let
but
me tell you guys something. I live in
What
Houston.
kind of third world country is this, dude?
Exactly.
no,
No one likes Houston, and I live here. Look, look. Let me
no,
tell you guys something. Houston, no one gives a shit about soccer in Houston, man. Everyone's worried about the football
Yep.
or the baseball. So this is where I don't get how MLS has like 20 or 40 teams expecting to sign every single Mexican superstar to give their shitty league some attention because that's the only way they're going to compete with Liga MX.
you already saw it. That kid was there in the stands. Remember that kid with the
Or that
U.S.
little
shirt and
apocalypto.
the Mexican?
Hey, look, I don't.
What's the use when he rips that Mex headband to it and he like tosses it and he's
I don't want to speak bad about us Mexicans, man, but when I was watching the game today, man, cómo son de feos unos mexicanos, man. Like they were
okay.
ugly.
¿Y los haitianos qué, güey?
Jesus, man.
Nah, they had a baby on the pregame show. I don't know who, like, it was just like some fan they picked out from the stands. And I don't know, dude. I was just like, look at this nopal over here with his fucking
Little Jaguar paw.
fake jersey and his like, bro.
Jaguar.
And then he talked about how he like spent a lot of money to come here. I'm like, dude, like, it's so sad, man. It's like you go over here and like you go watch this mediocre product, and this is it's just like, come on, dude. Like, have some respect, bro. Like, I gotta go to the game on Sunday against Qatar. Like, no, dude.
But you don't go for the
That's a
game. You go
harsh.
for the
That's a
vibes.
too
You go
hard.
for the
You go for the
pregame.
vibes. You're part
You
of the
go for
problem, though,
pregame,
Pastor.
the cookouts,
You're over
the
here.
banda in the parking lot,
There
Ah,
you
the
go.
perico
It's
in the
true.
porta potty.
hey, look,
But
And, the-
you
and
do
then
it.
you go to the game. You don't even remember what happened at the
Oh
game.
God.
no, but it's like a luxury thing for a lot of people that, especially that immigrated over here, and they were like really poor, and for a lot of them, it's first time seeing the national team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big
Uh,
thing, and that's why they let them go all out and they'll spend all this money for tickets and
Yeah.
good seats and all
Or you get
That's
lucky and
facts.
you get a suite,
that.
and then you catch hands in the fucking elevator, dude.
oh, the best.
That was Waldo Sanchez.
Bro, I was watching some clips from the first game in the first game was in Houston, no?
Yeah, I was in
Yeah.
Houston.
And
Bro,
GR
there was
Stadium,
like a
whatever.
fucking there was like a fight club in there, dog, like in the suites. In the
Oh.
suites.
Like my sister took my nephew to go see it, and she invited me, but I was like, "Man, get out of my face with that." I don't. And she said it was packed, man. It was packed. Like I said in that last podcast in the comments, those tickets sold out. Well, like the
Preseason.
good seats.
Yeah.
And yeah, that place is packed.
Yeah, dude. And there was like a Royal Rumble after the match, dude. It was Mexican on Mexican fighting, bro. I'm like, this is sad, bro.
The
What were they even fighting about?
Cerotes were mad, man.
The what?
The Hondurans, the
Oh.
Cerote, like your team shit, man. Like, why would you get in a fight with? Like, imagine getting in a fight over your team being Honduras, man. Come on.
No, but it was Mexican on Mexican, dude. A lot of the fights were just amongst. Dude, I remember going to games at the Coliseum in Oakland, man. And I was a kid, bro. Like, and dude, I was too busy watching the game, but then I would go to the bathroom or something, and shit would go down, bro. People would come out with like broken noses and just la gente
Yeah.
they get too
That
drunk,
venue
dude.
sucks.
What's that?
That venue sucks.
Oh.
I personally had to wait over 40 minutes for beer there, standing in line.
Oh yeah,
Damn.
dude. The Coliseum's the saddest stadium in the world, in at least in the States. Yeah, that's why the team's moving. But yeah, they used to play there. Growing up, they used to play all their games there, and then they moved to Levi's when they built that one. But Yeah, it doesn't hit the same.
I'm actually gonna take off, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me. That was really fun.
absolutely.
Hopefully, I can bring you guys some more news in the coming weeks. Thank you, thank you. I'll definitely try hard to get you guys something very juicy. There's no big games going on until the final of the Copa Oro. Am I correct at the SoFi?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, I'll try to get something for you guys till then. Then
World Cup
Okay.
final at SoFi. Confirmed.
Yeah, me and I don't know Joel if you're gonna go attend, but
Yes,
yeah, so we'll be at
yes,
the
I am.
final.
oh,
So yeah, we'll definitely stay in touch. But yeah, definitely come back whenever, man. Thanks for hopping on tonight.
thank you guys. Nice talking to you guys.
Yee.
Good
Take
night.
it easy, guys.
Yeah, so we have that third stage match against Qatar on Sunday over here in Santa Clara. That'll finish the group stage, and then we'll have to see who Mexico will face in the quarterfinals. Liga MX kicks back off on Friday tomorrow, and just a lot of football. We've been blessed by the football gods this summer.
Maybe too much football,
I don't think there's
if there's
ever
such
too
a
much.
thing.
No, I kind of agree. It's like getting watered down.
I think it's like there's no time to hype up like Superliga or Leagues Cup, whatever they fucking call it now. Superliga 2.0, the Leagues Cup. I didn't know they were gonna take a break from Liga MX for that bullshit cup, man. That's unfortunate.
It's on
But
TV, man.
I don't mind club football though. International football though, it to me has to be meaningful. Like if it's just a BS friendly or like a BS tournament like Nations League, or it's like right now Gold Cup's a BS tournament because only like two teams brought their best roster. Everyone else has like their BS rosters.
Yeah,
Like it just feels like Gold Cup. Like you just want to skip to the final. Like just let me know Mexico's playing in the final if they are. Who are
yeah.
we playing? And let's just get it out the way.
Mexico should have like where it's like, hey, look, we're ranked X amount in the world. We get to just play in the final. Just let us know who our opponent's gonna be or
Yeah, like round of
semifinal.
16 or something.
Yeah,
Like
and just
just
like
let
you get the
it's
first
just
round bye.
watered down and like and also they're shooting themselves in the foot because all these guys are going back to Europe. Their teams are doing preseason and they're like behind everybody else. And the only reason they couldn't send like a B roster
Who's going back
because
to Europe, bro?
They were been terrible for the last 2 years. So they have to win Gold Cup. They have to like to try to what they say like cover the sun with one finger
Yeah.
type thing. Like that's all they're trying to do, but it's gonna hurt them in the long run.
Real talk though,
Look,
I'm trying to think. I can probably count on my hand the amount of players we have in Europe right now. So it's like what? Ochoa, Edson,
Johan,
Johan, Sanchez. Who else?
yeah.
Some
Montes
guy
was
said it was
suspended
9.
4 games, so I guess he's good. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The
Yeah.
guys that should be in Europe during their preseason, they're playing this BS Gold Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ochoa's fine. He's not going to lose the starting spot. Johan Vasquez, a little bit different situation because he was
Wait,
on
Ochoa
loan.
left his club, didn't he? I thought he left.
He renewed.
No, he's still there.
Yeah, he got an
He
extension.
renewed?
Yeah, he got an extension on his contract.
Oh, I thought he was leaving because he was like,
Yeah.
he had that going away thing.
As far as Jorge Sanchez goes, would not be surprised if he returns to Mexico. Edson Alvarez, I mean, Borussia dropped the bag there, or maybe Ajax dropped the bag there. So, I don't really think any player that has taken their time to go and represent their country are losing out on anything. Maybe Bebote. I don't know if this tournament will do him more harm than good. I'm actually surprised that we haven't heard any rumors of him getting picked up by anyone. I feel like he did his tryout at Feyenoord. I think it's time for him to go to leave the Fisherman's League and go somewhere like La Liga or Prem League or Serie A, Bundesliga. I think it's time for him to step up.
2 years is usually because you you in a club you don't just jump the shark. I mean, you don't
How
just
long was
because he had
Chucky at
one good season.
PSV? He was not there
Like
that long.
2, 3
No, but
season.
yeah, usually that's what you want.
It was two
and
seasons.
you see how consistent the player is.
27 to
Not it was
2019,
like,
bro. 2 seasons, man. He was 60
there you
appearances,
go.
34 goals. Then he went to Napoli and struggled a little bit.
Yeah, he's a champion though.
He's a champion now.
And he
Yeah.
started like 27 out of like 30 something games too. No, like I think 24. So I mean, he had a decent season too.
Oh yeah, he's solid now. He had that injury, and then he had Gattuso. He had to bump heads with him, but Chucky. I know Napoli's trying to offload him because they spent a lot of money on him. He was their most expensive signing of all
It
time.
was
So
like 60 million,
it's like 50 million euros.
50
Yeah,
Yeah, his
million.
like wage bill's probably up there compared to everybody else.
yeah. So maybe it's time for a new change of scenery for him. I don't know if Chivas can afford him, or if that was just all hype.
It was all hype, man.
Yeah, that's definitely all hype. But then again, Chivas just got like three sponsors in the last couple of days. Now they got
Who?
Hardee's, they got some motorsport thing. They got like three sponsors in the last 3 days.
We about to look like a NASCAR jersey, is what you're saying?
Hey, if it brings championships and refuerzos, I'm all for it.
Well, I
Yeah,
seen that as a Chinese sponsor, right?
Yes,
Chinese.
sir. Yeah, they brought some Chinese sponsor
Who?
también today.
The one America had, Hawaii.
No, this is like Motors something. MG.
Oh shit.
Yeah, they have like three sponsors. El Pinche Carl's Jr. If
MG Motors.
yeah, if JJ scores a doblete, you get a free Western
Shit,
Baconator or whatever.
I could get behind that, dude.
Ah man. How much of this is Hierro doing the influence?
I say all of it.
No, well, general manager's different, and then you
MG
have like,
Motor is it's a car company.
Yeah, but I know like he's not responsible for finance and stuff, but your general manager's like, yo, we need money, we need this. You got to find a way to do it, and he's pressuring the club to get sponsors and stuff like that.
they've been
Oh,
looking for sponsors.
in
I
just
don't.
one
Hey,
year and a half,
hey, come on.
I found an
Oh, well, you
article.
got to give him his flowers. Come on, you didn't give Almeida his flowers. You wanted to give it
What?
to Buse. You want to give your flowers to Ricardo Pelas, and now the Hierro
Okay,
comes
I'll
in.
believe it. No, but you guys have a tendency to give more credit,
He shows
for
up and shit starts happening. What else is there to say?
no, but because a lot of stuff's already, it's been put in motion. Like for example, PSV, right? Chivas had announced that partnership with PSV. What was it, 2 years ago? And if that's playing into this transfer, are you gonna say it's because of Hierro? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
So
you also
so
got to
stuff's
leverage it to your favor. He probably said, "Give me Guti and let me keep Chiquete for one more year, and then I'll send you Chiquete."
I just did a little bit of digging on MG. So they became one of the top brands in Mexico in just a year and a half. They're owned by
there you go.
they're Chinese, but they're British founded. Yeah.
So they came into the next market recently.
Yeah, it says they've reached number 10 in the rankings for new car sales, and they sold 12,000 vehicles in their first 4 months in Mexico. That's pretty good, man.
See, makes sense. Makes
It
sense
looks like
there.
a
That
poor man's Mazda. Good for them.
Hey, sounds like money laundering to me. But if it's gonna help us, let's do it. You sold 12 cars, and now you're sponsoring Chivas. 12,000. Now you're sponsoring Chivas. Hey, let's do a little money
yeah, well, I
laundering.
mean
They'll clean your money for
because
you.
no, but if I mean that's think about like advertisement. Where would you want to put? You know, who you want promoting your brand that's popular, and that just makes sense, sponsorship wise.
America?
I'm I'm all f-
Right?
I'm all for the sponsors if it means we're gonna get players. At the same time,
But
man,
that's
I'm
where the money's coming
I'm
from.
sick and tired of Puma, bro. It's time Nike makes us an offer that we can't refuse. I want
Hey,
Nike.
I
Puma,
know that. I'm still hurting for that
they did well
97
with those
jersey, man.
Tapatio jerseys, though. I'll
Yeah,
give
the
them that.
the Tapatio jerseys look better than our jerseys, bro.
They're handing that job to some intern. He's killing it.
I like the little stripes, the
They're
piano
using
stripes. Those are cool.
that the 97 jersey was like
Na-
Soul, dude. Can you believe it? Soul beer was part of the hating on they didn't like that how Nike did their logo. They just didn't put the colors. They wanted the whole colors of the logo
Yeah,
on the
that's crazy,
jersey.
man. To
And like, yeah, because if you see the Soul logo or the old one from back then, it's
mhm.
like like a rectangle, and there's a sun, and then it says like in the fancy font, it says Soul, which is have you seen the first Matrix movie when they're fighting in the subway? There's the it's in the background the logo. Anyways, when the for the jersey, Nike took out the sun and they just put the letters. It looked dope like that, but Soul had a fit, man. They wanted the whole, their whole box with all of that shit. It's all man.
Well,
Yeah, it
we have
is what it
sponsors
is.
now. We're the next Tigres. They have 32 sponsors. We're on our way there.
Damn.
No more clean jerseys. That lasted what two seasons maybe. We will have no sponsors on the jersey.
Yeah, I remember that. What was it that first year when Vergara took over, or oh four, oh
Yeah,
four when we had no sponsors? That was dope, dude.
It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to jerseys. You just do contracts where now all your stars have to do commercials for you,
Yeah.
training tops, training fields, on the brochures that you give to the fans when they come in, all that stuff. Not
How'd you guys
necessarily on the
feel about
jersey.
that the Mexico jersey they wore today? Was that a femenil jersey?
Yes, sir. It's the women's one.
Ah.
It looks nice.
wasn't that
Looks like
announced though as Mexico's third jersey when they showed the new kits?
Hmm.
no, that's the women's one.
It's the women's jersey.
Yeah.
I could have thought it was the third one though.
It was inspired by the shark whale.
I still hate the logo, man. The new badge.
Oh, sorry, whale shark. No, I'm serious, dude. Like the jersey, like the spots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the spots.
Oh,
Yep. I know a bunch of simps will go out there and buy it tonight after the 3-1 victory over Haiti. Folks, we're getting close to the 2 hour mark. Want to leave you guys with your closing thoughts and then we can wrap up this episode.
All right. I'm
Wh-
just really quick for Ricardo. I'm explain my take on the clubs. So the club has to look out for their best interest, which is themselves. So they have a good player. They're not going to send them to Europe because it's going to benefit the national team. That's not going to benefit them, right? They need the strongest squad they can have to have the best season. Um, but then I think ultimately, the stronger the teams are, the stronger the team is, then ultimately that's going to provide stronger players. So that's sort of my take on this. Where if the league becomes stronger overall, that will help the national team and not have this like mentality feels defeatist of like we're not going to know what to do with this player, so let's just send them abroad or else we're going to lose a talent.
Okay.
Well, I completely disagree with Joel, but
always
like to
does.
I'd like to thank you guys. It's always nice to talk football with you guys, and I can't wait for the. I'm excited about the season to start, man. I'm looking forward. Is the best league in the Western Hemisphere. I always say it. But to respond to Joel real quick, I get what he's saying, but I
Yeah,
think
because
I
you
see other
think
leagues, man, and these other like whenever I get a chance, I'm not saying I'm an avid watcher. I spend time on my way looking to watch the Argentine league or these other or the Uruguay league, but I watch these leagues, man, and they don't have like we always talk about how they're poor as shit, and the only thing they export is football because they don't have anything going else for their country, right? But
yeah,
these guys are always busting out players left and right. I'm not saying sell 'em- I'm not saying sell all the young Mexicans to Europe. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying If why go out of your way and spend? What's the point of having the your cantera structure, the Liga expansion structure? Like America, I follow this America cantera guy. They're always bragging about how America always has like the top goal scorer for those divisions, right? Sub 18 and all that, and all those guys never end up making it to the first division. So what's the point of doing all that? That's all. That's all I was saying.
Because you ultimately do get some players like that. Like Linus, maybe he's not good now, but he was those first years. Raul Jimenez, you've got um, Memo Ochoa. So you will ultimately get some players. Chivas, right, when they had Salcido and they had Massa and Bravo and Medina, and they had all these players that kept coming out of their youth system. But it's not a guarantee. You're not gonna. You could go years without producing some good talent, but eventually you'll have one or two players. You know, that was the one thing where, like, I keep telling you guys to listen to the podcast with Medrano, and I believe that's the one podcast. I think it's the one. I'll listen to it again. Do the homework for you guys with Nestor de la Torre, and he's explaining about the cantera and how they would sell players, and out of all the prospects they had, not all of them were going to go to the first team. Some were going to be sold to other teams, and then that's how they made money too. So you know, just because they didn't make it to the first team doesn't mean that the whole project was a bust. If they ultimately, and of course, it doesn't have to always just be first division teams or to Europe. It could be to second and third division teams. Right, talents, and then all these teams need players, and it's talent, but for I guess different level. And that's part of the reason too, where you have your canteras, because you can't just be buying. You know, you can't just be buying the talent. At that point, it's like you will end up spending way more money than if you're generating some of your own players.
But the problem is, well, that I with that what you just said, I agree with. Like you got to sell the players and make you like you said before. The football team, it's a that guy's business. He's got to keep up with
Yeah,
it. I get that, but but I in the last podcast, what I liked about what you said was about how Mexico never had that grassroots moment that you mentioned, right?
no, yeah, it like it skipped it. It like
Completely
you know,
skipped, right? Yeah, but
well, you
and
had the war. You had the you just really quick. You had so Mexico the football was going on, and then you had the um
Mexican
damn man, my
Revolution and
history.
all that, right?
The Mexican Revolution started around the, so like you could look at Chivas right when they started, and it was all the extranjeros, and look at the years, and then look at the years when the Mexican Revolution started, and you could even go and see a lot of the clubs that were there, like the British with British players, and but they were more clubs than just soccer team because you know they played different sports, but a lot of them ended up disappearing or leaving, and that was a big part. And then after that, you had like a kind of a second wave of the football coming in.
Yeah. No, but well, Mexico ultimately Mexico can't be successful if there's only a handful of teams, and by a handful I mean four or even three. They're producing players for the national team because Mazatlan, Querétaro, there's no point of these guys even existing. Like, what's the point of them even having a cantera when you know their team is full of extranjeros, and that's a detriment to the league.
Yeah, yeah,
So that part,
that
that's where my point's coming from. Not so much Chivas that they sell their players. I get what they're doing, but there's more than there's about 8 or 10 teams in Liga MX that don't do that. So they're just wasting space.
yeah, and that's of course also the league's rule of having unlimited foreigners. So it becomes for some of these teams it becomes cheaper to just go to and a big part because South America, you know, like the whole, you know, their economy is like a big bargain bin, so it's cheaper for them to go over there and just get a bunch of players. but even that could end up costing them. If that's you're just relying on that, because you're not always gonna bring five good players. You probably get a decent one and then four that are pretty bad.
There was also that whole corruption thing that Lopez started the show with. The whole paying to play, right? The thing that we see in Club de Cuervos, like that's a real thing. I know it's it's a TV show, and it might be exaggerated a little bit, but I always feel like there's a little bit of truth to that, and I've always wondered
Yeah,
why we have like the world class talent at 17, and then we hand it off to a professional debut, and like we drop the ball, and I've always wondered like what's going on there. And a prime example of that is like Perez Buquet. He looked very promising for Tapatio. He made his debut with Chivas. He looked great, and then just never got back to the first team. And now he's been loaned out to Juarez, right? It's like, yo, what happened to this kid? Like,
okay, but see, but if you're using him as an example for the corruption, then you're gonna have to throw the Iron Man under that bus because he's overseeing that and he's gonna agree to that. Do you know what I
is
mean?
he?
Like, well, you're pretty much saying he is if there's corruption at that end. I'm saying like, you know what I mean? Because you could have one good game, but then that doesn't mean that you're at that level with some of these players. I mean, I don't know what's going on with the coaches, but it's been like two, three different coaches now that just haven't kept him or started
I
him.
would somebody had tweeted something about all the players and who are they being represented by, like what agency. I would
Yeah,
We need some fucking nerd to like look at some like patterns and see exactly, hey, are there trends? Are there certain, coincidences with certain
yeah.
agencies and certain
But I
players?
mean, but if you're at Chivas already, the club, you already have a contract with them, and you're very promising, and they're gonna make a lot of money.
But I feel like players
They're not
I feel
gonna
like you
bury you because you don't pay a coach.
no, I feel like
Um,
the youth
you,
contract, you have your youth contract, right? But then finally when you're at that point where they're trying to give you a professional contract, I think that's where maybe the ball is getting dropped, right? Like this is the biggest risk for a club because they're getting showcased at the under 17, the under 20s, and now you have all these scouts from all over the world wanting to get these players, and they potentially can with the free, cuz like they're on youth contracts, they might be able to get this guy without a contract and not have to pay Chivas anything. And I think Chivas are forcing players to sign contracts that may not be the most, desirable, especially for a kid that can jump, like skip the whole Chivas thing and go straight to a team in Europe,
yeah.
like what happened to Carlos Vela. I think they probably
Well,
like they're trying to lock him in for a certain contract, and they're like, hey, if you don't sign, then we're just not going to play you anymore.
there's been the news making rounds about corruption with the youth systems, um, and the ESPN guy, Rafa Ramos, said he has receipts and he's gonna drop him soon. I know there was an article about Club America. I didn't really look into it though, but this guy was talking about more like league wide, a bunch of clubs that were involved with this.
in
But
Puebla.
I think one of the big parts has been with the in the past money laundering, and that was you know player transfers mostly for foreign players. I don't know how this goes into youth.
Hey, I wanted to add one last thing because I caught you guys a little late, and that guy Lopez, he was talking about the youth system, right, in Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and all
Yeah,
the that pay to play crap. Well,
yeah. I would have
I've been
liked them go more in detail. Go on.
yeah. No, I'm really interested in that subject because my little nephew, the one I was talking about, that went to the Mexico game.
Yeah.
I took him back when the Gold Cup when they lost to the U.S. They played Canada, I believe, here in Houston, and we signed. He wanted to try out for soccer, right? Well, he wanted to try it out, and we found this place that it was like promoted with like the Dynamo and some other shit. It's a fancy place. I went inside. There's like a big warehouse. It looks real fancy, like the turf, like
Oh.
real modern looking. And They're charging. Well, I was going half seas with my sister. We were the that place was charging us like 650 a month.
Sheesh.
We between both of us, we can afford it
Six
How
fifty for what?
how
to
how
train them.
and
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
play with the
crazy.
team, right?
And it was nothing but little white kids and little white girls. I'm just gonna put it at
How
that.
often how often how often like was the training and
Twice a week.
damn.
just twice a week?
Twice a week. The
They're
place was
running you through
the,
the cleaners, man.
don't
Just
get
That
me
take
seems
wrong.
a
them to
little bit.
some
The
Mexican
place looked
neighborhood
fancy.
and drop them off there and tell them to play in the
But there
street.
isn't one, man. Like there was when I was growing up, there was like a little park where they trained the little kids and they'd have like Sunday games, right? And but they completely just knocked it over. It's done but grassland now. I think they're gonna build like warehouses there. But what I was gonna get to is like everyone's talking about these pochos that we're gonna miss out on them, but I don't think you're gonna get the hood pochos, the apocalypto pochos, right?
Exactly.
You're gonna get these little rich kids that know someone or they got money. Because
Yeah.
Well,
after a
that's
while, my nephew, he's like, I don't know, man. At the same while this was going on, we must have paid for like a year and a half, and that's when the around the Astros they won it too, the World Series, and his elementary school started promoting the baseball because they got like a real big little league scene where my sister lives. They like I think a team won the Little League World Series
Oh.
close to where she lives, and there's a Houston Astros guy that promotes it that played for the Astros back in the '80s.
Oh, nice.
This guy hooked up my nephew with for like three bats, a bunch of gloves, like brand new gear, and they have him training like every other day, man. Like
Damn.
some some tobacco,
yeah, just missing that chewing tobacco, but
some chewing
They got the
tobacco.
Major League gum. That was my
yeah,
favorite.
Oh yeah, dude. Or the Popeye, they had the
Damn, bro.
Popeye
Six
spinach.
fifty a month for 8 lessons. Whew, that's a lot, man.
It was a lot, dude. I was thinking like maybe 3 4 times a week.
Hey,
How long
bro.
was the training though?
You
Like
can
like
you can go to
4 hours? I would.
Cascarita, bring a caguama, bro, and they'll let you play, dude.
Yep. Playing
You,
the
no,
Sunday league.
the training was like I dropped him off once when I wasn't working. It was like an hour and a half.
wait, no game? Like just drills
Oh,
and no game?
he played some games on the weekend, but I didn't have time to go do all that. My sister did that,
Okay.
but
Still, man,
yeah,
that's
expensive, man.
crazy.
These pochos, we're not getting the good ones, man.
But I mean, but see, those are like the academies that help you. So they do the whole school system of like you go through high school and then college, and then the college they have the draft, and then you could get scouted like that.
I
Oh,
was
but those are
So
the
that
bums, though. Those are the bums.
no, but I mean that's kind of how it goes here because now you go also if there's a club in your city, they have the youth academies too where you could go and put your kid in that academy.
Yeah, but I'm
That's
just
where
saying,
the
like, if you make it to the college draft, like, you're a bum. Like, uh, the
how are
clubs
you a
have like
bum?
homegrown players. Like they sign you to a homegrown player contract at 15, 16 years old. If one of the academies does not sign you to a contract and they rather have you go to college, graduate college, and then go through the college draft, you have very little chances of making it, and like they don't like respect you. So I know Jaime doesn't like MLS talk, but St. Louis, since they were the new team, they had the first pick, and you know what they traded the pick for? For $300,000. Like if you're on the college draft, it's like, hey man, if you weren't good enough to get a
Yeah, you
pro
should have already
contract at
been pro by
15,
now.
16, 17, you're not good
Yeah,
enough.
because, like, how old are you when you come out
But
of college? You're like,
Like 21,
yeah,
22.
by then you should already be professional.
yeah,
Yeah, like these guys are
what the
it's not
least?
like NFL draft, NBA draft where you're getting the best of the best. No,
All
these are
right,
like the leftovers.
but at least if you did that, like as a player, um, at least you got a, especially if you got like a scholarship, then at least you have a college degree.
Oh yeah, no, for
So
sure.
yeah,
Like
you might not
not
be,
knocking that, but no, your
yeah,
goal is to get into an academy. and like have a contract
I,
by
but
50, 60,
I
70
do
million.
think for a lot of these like academies like you're saying, that's kind of like their ceiling too, where it's like you may not be a pro, but you got the scholarship, you got the college paid for, and you got a degree on whatever. And so it doesn't really matter if you're a pro because
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna
no,
have a
that's a smart way to
career.
go. But if you're trying to be a pro and that's your objective, if you wind up in college, there's very little chance that you're going
Oh,
to be
okay.
successful.
No, yeah, I agree with that. I'm just saying, like, I guarantee you, a lot of the parents that have their kids in some of these academies, that's part of their thing, you know. Like, oh, so you might not be pro, but at least you got the college paid for.
No, agreed. And then my closing thoughts, real quick.
Yeah.
Uh, Liga MX, I found out today. It starts tomorrow. Looking at schedule, yeah, I'm gonna watch, but I'm not gonna take any of the results serious. To me, this is preseason because like Chivas just played May 28th, and then it's like literally 30 something days later, and it's
Yeah.
already back to the tournament. They play like León, Necaxa, San Luis, and then we go into Leagues Cup, which is I guess the real preseason,
Mm-hmm.
and then we start late August, and transfer window opens Saturday. So
Oh
they're
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they're like whole like Leagues Cup teams are still gonna be like looking for their transfers, everything. So I think real Liga MX starts once Leagues Cup ends. I'm just gonna take these like preseason games because
Yeah.
they only got the refuerzos, none of that. But speaking of refuerzos, I think Hierro, I'm gonna give him his flowers. He's putting on a master class. You can tell he learned from Papa Florentino how to negotiate because what he is doing. Rumor is this from Chapi Herrera. She's a pretty good source with
Yeah.
TUDN. Uh, that Alan Pulido got a pre-contract signed with Chivas, so he's coming in January because Kansas City they don't care about the 2 million. They rather keep him and make it in playoffs and potentially
So
win
you'll be a
than
free
make two
transfer.
million. So it's gonna be free. He already has a pre-contract signed, just waiting for July 1st to come around the corner.
Nice.
Same thing with Guti. Look, do I think Guti's amazing? No, I agree with Ricardo. I think he's like overhyped. Like he never had that great of a season in Europe, but he could have gone and gone to Cruz Azul and gotten Charlie Rodriguez, and Cruz Azul would have wanted what, like 12, 13 million for Charlie Rodriguez. So he went to Europe and got Guti on the low, like for 5, 6 million. And then what he's doing with Campillo and Perez Buquet. With Perez Buquet contract says he has to play specific amount of minutes. If not, they have to send him back. So he's forcing Juarez to play him,
That's good.
and they can call him back every 6 months. Campillo, they sold Juarez like a percentage, or they can buy a percentage of his rights, but Chivas still owns all his rights, like the majority of his rights. So if they do
Yeah.
something on Juarez, it's only gonna be a percentage, and he becomes a big thing. He's doing like Madrid does, like, all right, you didn't make it to the first team, but see ya, we're still gonna keep a part of you if you do become big. And then on Tapatio, even though they were champions, he bought like some dude from Spain who was playing like with Granada, like Mexican kid. He brought this other guy from Expansión who's a baller. So he's even like, creating internal competition with Tapatio. Like it's not like, oh, you guys are champions, so we're just gonna trust you. No, now we're gonna bring you even more competition.
Mm-hmm.
So if he pulls off Pulido, Pocho Guzman, Guti,
Chucky
JJ
Lozano.
comes back next season, hey, maybe even Chucky Lozano.
With that MG
But
money.
but I think he's putting on a master class, man. I think he's doing
We'll
well.
see.
I think yeah. So I'm excited,
He's already done
but
more
not
than Pelas. I'll tell you that.
yes. So,
Oh,
but I'm not excited for these 3 weeks.
I'm
This
getting
is
blind from all the
preseason.
chrome.
Liga MX starts after the Leagues Cup. You heard it here first.
Hey man, thanks for
I'm
your hot take.
blinded.
Yeah,
I'm
then what you
blinded.
go? I'm not
This,
saying I'm not cromeando a Hierro, but he has already
the,
done more
that,
for Chivas than
oh,
Peláez,
just come
bro.
on. Just digging the
And
shit.
my
He's did
favorite,
a
all right,
lot, man.
here's my favorite part about Hierro. He doesn't say a fucking word. He doesn't have a press
Yes, sir.
conference. This dude
Yes, sir.
is not. He's just doing it all behind the scenes, dog.
Hey,
Word.
Peláez
man.
Peláez would call a
Peláez,
fucking press
True
conference.
businessman.
Chivas was in the third when Peláez came in. He picked them up. He dusted them off.
Dude,
This
Peláez
dude
was
comes
puro humo,
along.
bro. All talk,
Nah,
no
dude, come
show,
on,
dude.
bro. You will see what.
even his press conference saying goodbye was a fucking joke, dude.
Hmm.
He's like, I want to thank all the teams, not just Chivas, all the teams throughout my career. I'm like,
Too
dude,
much hate.
go.
Too much hate. I don't
Bro,
know what happened,
you're
Jaime.
getting fired, not dying. All right, like
I know,
come on.
dude. He's like, come on, man. He made it all about himself, not about Chivas, and
Yeah, screw that guy.
I give the Iron Man
and then
credit.
he
I
has the
just don't think
balls to be
he's
like
doing everything.
Jimmy. He has the balls to look at Jimmy in the face to be like, my biggest regret at Chivas is not bringing you because you are so good. I'm like, dude, stop it.
You want to talk about Cromiendo? That's Cromiendo right
Yeah,
there.
exactly. I can't even watch that interview, the one he did with Jimmy 2 months ago. It was like, come on, bro, just stop.
Oh, the one that had me weak is when he's like, I'm gonna give you guys an exclusiva right now to the La Rosa from Teduene. And what's the guy that oh yeah, he's like, I almost brought Mascherano to be Chivas
Oh
coach,
yeah.
but I got fired. And then the La Rosa looks at him, he's like, that's the exclusiva? He's like, yeah, that's the exclusiva. Like, you should thank me. I'm like, bro, nobody cares about you almost bringing Mascherano to
Yeah.
Chivas. If anything, that would have been a clown move. Bring Mascherano, who couldn't even qualify his U20 team to a World Cup. It had to be gifted to him. And that was your big move? That was like the answer to everything? Mascherano?
It's like, yo, I almost banged this girl. It's like, dude, like what? He's like,
And
yeah,
the girl
man.
that no one wanted to bang.
She was in my DMs, dude. Okay, bro. Like, no, but for real, I was gonna bang her, but I got fired. Like, sure, bro. Is she in the same room as you right now? Do you... But anyways, folks, I want to
Driving my boy.
You're a sugar daddy. You defend them too much.
Oh man.
Look what you done to my boy. What's that meme with the Godfather?
All right,
Okay.
it's time to tap out for the night, guys. Thank you guys so much for your support. Liga MX returning tomorrow. We have the last group game match on Sunday, so we'll try to podcast probably on a regular schedule Tuesday nights. But if I don't hear from you guys till then, have a great 4th of July Day weekend, and we will catch y'all in the next one. Ciao.